Needs some space. Edwards, top three. Cash! He's an assassin.
When Anthony Edwards yelled at his coach on the sideline, most people saw something we've seen many times before the downfall of the team: disrespect. A young superstar ignoring questions, taking his own shot, and then letting his emotions spill over in front of everyone. But what if that moment was just a young player caught up in the moment and no disrespect was meant, just like he did with former President Obama here?
I remember you telling me you're the truth.
Yeah.
He can hoop a little bit, huh? A little bit, huh?
Man, y'all better stand down. I'm the truth.
Yeah, he's the truth. He said he's the truth. Yeah.
D-boy, no.
I guess.
According to NBA legend Shaq, Anthony Edwards got one little thing right during the incident, and that one thing he did right is the difference between those who fail and those who rise. Here's why Shaq was totally right about Anthony Edwards. The Timberwolves got a lucky win against the Clippers, and from the sidelines, Coach Chris Finch saw into the heart of the problem.
And we just, kind of fell into a lot of ISO basketball, and then just everything was a beat late,
Minnesota's offense was slowing down. Players were trying to create on their own instead of trusting the system.
I think what happens is everybody tries to get themselves going, so it kind of snowballs on it, and you saw that tonight.
During that press conference, Finch made it clear what needed to happen.
They're not going to let Ant and Julius play easily. And those guys gotta get back to being the catalyst for good ball movement, and that's when we're at our best.
Move the ball, trust the system, make the right play. But Anthony Edwards saw it all differently.
Yeah, I think you got a better chance of winning if I shoot it.
You see, in that moment, he wasn't thinking about the system. He was thinking about winning. So instead of passing out of pressure, Edwards took the shot himself. A tough, contested attempt with defenders closing in. And he made it. The shot gave Minnesota control of the game, but what happened next is what got everyone talking. Edwards turned to the sideline and let his coach hear it. In real time, it looked like a young superstar challenging authority, ignoring instructions, crossing a line that most players are expected to respect. And that's where the conversation split, because while some people saw confidence, others saw disrespect. And the NBA's history is littered with what happens when disrespect is the case. In the NBA, when that line between confidence and disrespect gets crossed, things can fall apart fast. And we've already seen exactly how bad it can get. Take Latrell Sprewell, for example.
It was just a buildup of anger and frustration, just having it all bottled up and not being able to express myself. And at that point, it just came to a head.
What started as frustration with his coach turned into one of the most infamous incidents in NBA history. A practice disagreement escalated into physical confrontation. And just like that, his career, reputation, and team chemistry were completely shaken. Another example is what happened between LeBron James and David Blatt in Cleveland. And in this case, there's no doubt about the disrespect.
And he immediately races over to argue the call. And then he pushes his coach, David Blatt, out of the way.
When the coach was eventually fired, LeBron was the number one suspect, but he claimed he had nothing to do with it.
So for me, I can't get caught up and worried about what other people think. I've stopped that a long time ago in my career, worrying about what other people think about me or what I influence or what I don't. But the only thing I can worry about is how I continue to get these guys prepared and get them playing better basketball, because obviously.
Yet another example that's worth noting is the one involving Shaq himself back when he was in Miami.
So White Chocolate was late for practice.
Yeah, Shaq tried to stand up for him because Rouse was at him, right? And
in front of the team.
In front of the team.
Yeah.
So then we got to go upstairs. Pat tell J. Will, don't come upstairs. Shaq like, no, Dad, we going upstairs. We're a team.
Yeah.
So we walk upstairs. Pat tell J. Will, get out. And Shaq tell him, he ain't going nowhere. And then they had a face-off.
This situation got Shaq traded very quickly. But more importantly, Shaq remembers exactly what made the situation so bad. And it's experiences like that that make Shaq the right person to speak on issues like this. You see, Shaq has played with all-time great players who push the limit, and he understands exactly where the line is.
It's one word that must play a factor. It's respect. They come respectfully. We come respectfully. It doesn't matter what's said as long as the job gets done.
That's the part most people miss. It's not about whether a player talks back, it's about how they do it. Because according to Shaq, you actually need players like Anthony Edwards.
I like playing with a guy like that. Kobe was like that. D-Wade was like that. Penny Hardaway was like that. You need that guy that says, hey man, I'm taking my last shot. I don't care what nobody says. But again, as long as it's respectfully, it doesn't matter.
That mentality is what separates good players from closers. The ones who are willing to take responsibility in the biggest moments, the ones that don't shy away from pressure. And in that situation, Anthony Edwards believed he gave his team the best chance to win. He took the shot, and he proved himself right. But Shaq also made something very clear. Not everyone understands what those moments actually feel like.
You know, a lot of people are going to look at this and say, oh, you should blah, 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 and do this and do that. But unless you're in that situation, you don't really know what goes on and what it takes to get to that next level. But again, it has to be respectful, because once you start going disrespectful, then you lose the team.
And he's totally right there. Yes, confidence can win you games, but disrespect can lose you the locker room. And Shaq knows that better than anyone, because even he admits to when he crossed that line himself.
Got out of hand one time. I was disrespectful.
Oh, I'm all ears.
I was disrespectful one time, and the next day I woke up in Phoenix.
That one moment changed everything. And that's why Shaq immediately recognized the difference in Anthony Edwards' situation. Edwards didn't lose control. He didn't divide the team. He didn't disrespect his coach in a way that broke the relationship. He competed. He believed in himself, and then he moved on. And Shaq got it right that Anthony Edwards' action was just a superstar being a superstar. But then again, Shaq affirms that he needs to apply caution. Sometimes applying caution goes beyond what happens in the game. It's about what it looks like to everyone watching. And Charles Barkley pointed that out with an example while speaking on their NBA show.
Let's say me, Shaq, and Jalen. You're the leader of our show. If Shaq do something and you let him get away with it, and me and Jalen do it and you yell at us, we ain't gonna respect you. And the players are watching. That's the only problem with that situation.
That's the danger. If one player can ignore the coach and nothing happens, it sends a message to the entire team. And once the standard changes, it becomes almost impossible to control. Because now it's not just about Anthony Edwards anymore. It's about everyone else in that locker room. Jalen Rose took this idea even further when he said,
I feel like what can't get lost is the responsibility of a great player.
Superstars are held to a different standard, not just because of what they do on the court, but because of how their actions influence everyone else. And that's why Jalen had an issue with how public the moment was.
I like to see those displays publicly because of what Chuck said. It shows a level of disrespect. Our families are watching, the audience is watching, the media is watching, and the other 14 guys are watching. And you just can't allow that to continue to be a trend, especially from you.
And that's the other side of this conversation. Shaq is focused on what happens inside the team, but Chuck and Jalen are focused on how it looks from the outside because perception matters. Teammates are watching, coaches are watching, the media is watching. And once something like that becomes normal, it can slowly turn into something much bigger. That's why it must not become normal, because if it does, then that's the disrespect that Shaq was talking about. Now, here's the fact of the matter. Anthony Edwards ignored his coach, took a tough shot, and proved himself right. But that's not why the moment mattered. What made it important is what didn't happen. It didn't turn into a feud, and it didn't divide the locker room. And it also didn't spiral into something bigger. Why? Because at the core of it all, there was still respect. And that's exactly what Shaq got totally right. Confidence like that is what you want from your best player. The willingness to take over, to embrace the pressure, and to live with the result. But the moment that confidence turns into disrespect, everything changes. So the question is, do you think that will happen? Well, let us know in the comments. Now, if you want to know the other things Shaq has been saying about Ant, watch 5 crazy things Shaq is totally right about Anthony Edwards next.